Hi everyone, this is Niki Rowland and I'm designing today for the ScrapTube UK Hop. We are all just making a layout for fun, really. There's no particular theme, we're just memory keeping today. So I'm making an autumnal layout about my boy, and I thought it would be also fun to play along with the Lime Citron challenge, which is a Canadian stamp company, and they do stencils as well, and they have this awesome challenge every month, and I just thought that I would join in with that as part of this hop. So I like to have something to work towards, so a challenge is always good for me. So the challenge there is to use the colours, which are autumnal colours, to include wood grain or wooden embellishments, and what else? Can't remember, something else. But anyway, I definitely managed to do the challenge. Of course, I had to use some Lime Citron stamps and products as well. So I'm mostly using some Pretty Little Studio papers from the October Hip kit, and I'm going full on autumn, lots of leaves, pretty things, awesome colours for these two photos about my little boy. So I have a white background, of course, and I have a large piece of Pretty Little Studio text paper that's in my background. I've distressed the edges of that already. I've then got a big torn piece of kind of crosshatch paper with diamonds on. That's also by Pretty Little Studio, and I've just added a piece of wood grain torn paper there as well. That's going to act as a paper layer underneath my photo stack. I've added some other torn papers underneath my larger piece there. So I've got the plaid paper. Oh, that's the other thing that had to be included in the challenge, was plaid patterns. And some orange cardstock as well, just to give some different textures and layers underneath my large torn paper area there. So I'm just adding some stamping, and I'm basically going to use this as a layer as well. So I want some text stamp underneath where my photos will be. So it's a random stamp. It doesn't have any actual words on it. It's just like a script stamp that you can't read, and I'm using it both the right way up and upside down as well to create that whole area there that you can see that my photo will sit nicely on, and you'll just see a small amount of text poking out from either side of my photos. So I've had this little bramble fox. He's in rose gold, and I've had him for ages. I think he was a freebie around National Scrapbooking Day, so that was back in May 2019, and I just haven't managed to get him onto a layout until now. So I felt that he had to be on an autumn layout, and I'm now making an autumn layout. I've made quite a few recently, and I just suddenly had a thought about this little fox. Oh, I could use him finally. So I'm going to get him onto this layout today, even if it kills me. So I am just, I've put all my paper layers together. I've got my photo stuck down, all my stamping done, and I'm just going to get this large piece. Oh, my photos are not stuck down. The stamping is in place, and all my paper layers are stuck together, but they weren't stuck on the background. So I'm just getting that stuck down now. I've put some foam pads under the torn pieces as well to add some extra dimension, and I've just placed my photos where I kind of want them, and I'm just making sure I get my fox in place too. So he moves around quite a bit on this layout, but eventually he settles somewhere over to the right hand side of the photos as well. So I'm just mounting my photos on some journaling cards. So the one on the right is a piece of pattern paper cut down to 3. I actually trimmed it slightly smaller than that to fit around my photo, and I've distressed the edges. The other one is an actual pre-made journaling card. Again, I've distressed the edges of that, and I don't mind using kind of pink tones on layouts about boys. For me, it's more seasonal, so these photos are taken on the 31st of October. We were out having lots of fun in the autumn sunshine on a really cold day. We went to a farm and walked around the 100-acre wood, Winnie the Pooh's 100-acre wood, at the end of the day. So this is us having fun, kicking the leaves around and laughing a lot, finding Winnie the Pooh and all of his different houses. These houses were dotted around all around this wood. So we found Pooh Bear's house, we found Piglet's house, we found Rabbit's house. Rabbit's house was really funny because it was basically just a big rabbit mound. Owl's house was up in a tree, so that was fun, climbed up there. And we also found the North Pole. So yeah, it was a really and we played Pooh Sticks over the bridge. So it was a really nice day out, and we had lots of fun. Just wandering around, enjoying the outside really in autumn. So, and it was beautiful colours and beautiful sunshine that day too. So that's what these photos are from. There's no particular story other than we were out having fun and outside playing on a log at this point and taking some silly photos. So yeah, so I'm determined to get as many fall or autumn themed pieces of ephemera used up wherever I can. I've got a few white pieces, die cut pieces from a kit, and I wanted to get some of those in. So because I've used pattern paper in for most of my background, I can use those white ones, and they'll show up a bit better than they would just on a plain white background. I appreciate that the white area behind my photos is still pretty white, even though it is patterned. So I'm just layering up my white die cuts and some acetate flowers and leaves, as well as some regular ephemera too. I have a flare badge there, that's by Lime Citron, whose challenge I'm taking part in, and I'm just carrying on adding lots of leaves and flowers, chipboard leaves, chipboard trees, acetate leaves, ephemera leaves, lots and lots of leaves. I also fussy cut out a whole bunch of leaves from one of the Paige Evans papers. So from her Truly Grateful collection, there's a whole sheet of leaves in beautiful autumn colours, so reds, pinks, yellows, oranges, really pretty leaf paper. So I cut out lots of those, and I'm planning to create clusters around my photos, but also down the bottom under the title. So my title is Leaves and Laughter, which definitely sums up that day, and I'm just getting lots and lots of leaves onto the layout as well. So you can see that I'm just kind of tucking bits in, working out where everything's going, making little clusters here and there. So say I've got lots of these fussy cut leaves from the Paige Evans Truly Grateful paper. I'm currently sticking them down with foam pads. So I've got them all in place already, and I'm just playing around with them. And when I'm happy with where they look, I'm just popping a foam pad underneath to secure them in place. My little fox is stuck down now, but he's on a very uneven surface, so he keeps moving. He keeps like sliding off actually, of the area that I'm trying to get him to stick to. So there you go, I'm having to add some more glossy accents there, and I'm going to just try to leave it alone now and hope that it will stick. But he's so cute. I'm really glad that I finally managed to use a fox on the layout. It worked well. I've also got the fox coffee cup to the left of my photo there. So I have this little sheet of labels, stickers that just need to be cut out, so I've just cut a few of those out that have appropriate phrases on them, and getting those stuck in place now. And I'm just going around adding in more chipboard pieces, little bits and pieces, adding to my clusters where I can. I've just added some golden thread at the top and the bottom of my layout. So I've done that on the sewing machine, and I've just stitched through using gold thread at the top and the bottom, just to give it a bit more grounding, or to give it a bit more of an edge border, if you like. But obviously I have the white background in the background, so I have that strip of white at the top and the bottom, and it's just to give some separation between those two layers. So I'm now adding a whole ton of wooden hearts, so wood veneer hearts, and some little they're not enamel, puffy dots, but they're by Pebbles, and they're a really just generic set of dots, and really great to use on layouts about anything. I think they are from a collection, but they're really great. They're so generic that they're perfect to use for anything. So just adding some twiddles of thread at the moment tucking those under. I love this I love the dangly threads coming out from my little clusters. It just makes the leaves and flowers feel more real, that there's some little tendrils and things dangling down. Plus it's metallic gold, so it makes everything look pretty, so obviously that's completely awesome. So I'm just sticking my threads to the back of my layout now. I literally went from edge to edge, so I don't need to pull them through, but I do need to secure them on the back, so I'm just doing that. I also did a little bit of sewing in the middle, so just pulling those threads through as well. Okay, so I've just sprinkled with a few sequins, so I'm using a Spiegelmom Scraps set of sequins, and I'm just sticking a few of those in place. I've just sprinkled a few around each cluster, so the one at the bottom under the title, and then one of course either side of my photo as well. So I just to stick my sequins in place, I just use some glossy accents, and I use a paper piercing tool. I put a small amount of glossy accents on the end of my paper piercing tool, move the sequin out of the way with that, and then put it back into place once I've added some adhesive. So that's how I do that, and I'm really nearly done now, so almost finished completely. So just making sure all of those sequins are actually secured and in place. I found a couple of bits that weren't stuck, so I've just added some foam pads under those. At this point I'm finished, I'm done, calling it done. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. Head on over to the next person in the hop. There's a list below of everyone who is taking place. We've got lots and lots of fabulous layouts today to look at, so make sure you do that. That was Niki Rowland for the ScrapTube UK Hop. Happy scrapping!